Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Last week I took a break from filming because I was moving apartments, and now that I'm kind of settled in and still in the cleaning process, I'm hoping to resume filming back to about 3 times a week. So today's reading is going to be about the truth of a situation, whether that's about a person or people or projects that you're doing, anything that you're going through, anything that's on your mind. My intention for this reading is to both give you messages about things you already intuitively know about the situation and also things that you perhaps didn't know that you should be aware of. So, let me introduce you to today's groups. We have 3 groups today, each having its own colored highlighter. This one is group 1, group 2 in the middle, group 3 on the right side. So, take your time, take all the time that you need. And once you've chosen, let's get started with the reading. Hi, group 1s, welcome, welcome. You picked the purple highlighter. So I'm going to break down this reading into roughly three parts. The first part is the truth of the situation, the overview of the situation. The second part, we will be asking the cards for what the situation is doing to you, how it's influencing you. And then we'll be looking at advice on how you should react, how you should handle the situation, what decision you should make. All right. Let me take 2 more cards for the overview. Oh, they're already out, I guess. We have the 4 of Pentacles, 6 of Cups, and the Knight of Cups. Let me take a sip of water and reflect on these cards. This is really a situation from the past coming back to you. I think it's something that happened in the past that perhaps didn't work out at the time, because either you or another party or maybe multiple parties in the situation weren't ready to move forward. You or someone else had the fear of what the situation would do to you guys, or perhaps just you. I think specifically fears having to do with insecurities, with finances, with having or maybe not having enough material, not having enough resources. For some of you, it was that when it happened in the past, your heart wasn't ready for it. I think now that the situation is coming back, again, you kind of still have that fear of what if this is pushing me too far? What if I'm not ready for what the situation has to offer? For some of you, it is a career advance, a great opportunity, and you might be having imposter syndrome of feeling that you're not worthy, not enough for it. I do feel that this situation is something that's very close to your heart, and in your heart of hearts, you know that this is something you're very excited for, that you have been preparing for. You've learned the lessons from the past, and you are not who you once were. And perhaps you weren't ready back then, but I do think you are ready now. The situation is coming back with a renewed energy and renewed hope. Let's look at how it is influencing you. We have the Magician. Is that the Magician? Mm-hmm. Queen of Wands. And let's get one more. It's already a great confidence booster, the situation that you're going through. And the Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, I feel like money worries, money insecurities, insecurities about resources, about your own worthiness, really were the things that were holding you back in the past. However, going through with this situation is actually going to make you feel much more secure and much more confident about your ability to provide for yourself, to provide an abundant life for yourself. There is the opportunity of stepping up and broadening your, I want to say, your worldview. It's as if some of you are stepping into like just a whole new level, and you're meeting a lot of new people, perhaps even people from different cultures, different countries. You're stepping up sort of metaphorically onto this higher platform. And this situation is very respective of your creativity. It's asking for your opinion, asking for what you want to do, giving you the material, the opportunity, the resources that you need to really create whatever you want to create with this situation. I do think for maybe the majority of you, the situation is a work situation. However, it's still something that you're very passionate and perhaps even emotional about. And for the rest of you, it could be an ex coming back, past lover coming back, past friend coming back. I feel like if that's your case, if it's a person, that's your situation, I am, to be honest, getting the feeling that perhaps you were the one who weren't ready back then, and they were also sort of pushing your boundaries. And perhaps you still sort of have the fear of what if they push my boundaries again, now that they're back again in my life. I do think this person comes with good intentions. I think it was just that in the past they didn't really know how to respect your boundaries and they weren't aware that they were crossing your boundaries. Yeah, both the Six of Cups and the Knight of Cups are giving me a generous and warm hearted energy that perhaps doesn't really know where the limit is. Let's look at advice on how you can handle this situation. I want to keep today's reading short and perhaps keep all of my readings short in the future because a lot of my friends gave me that advice. And yeah, just I'm practicing the skill of getting straight to the point and just keeping it short and sweet. Let's take one more cards. King of Swords. Oh, actually, let's reshuffle. Too many cards flipped open and I wasn't sure which one to take. Alright, let's get this one. Can you guys see it? Nope, sorry. Is it better? Let's check. Not really. Well, I guess this is fine. I've decided not to show my face. Maybe I will still show my face for some of my readings, but I think for the majority of my readings going forward, I'm just gonna show you the cards since I moved to a bigger apartment and we have more table space now. Yeah, okay. So, advice on how you should handle the situation. It's already quite obvious from the Page of Wands and the Knight of Wands that definitely embrace it, I would say. I think this situation or opportunity has a lot to do with forming a new partnership, either partnership at work or romantic partnership. I do feel like the situation is meeting you with more energy than you might want to put into it, but I think that's a really good thing, right? Because you're sort of on the receiving end of the situation. Of course, you're putting in a lot of passion, a lot of effort, a lot of heart into it, but you're being met with much more in return. And I feel like what you're going to experience by stepping into this new situation is broadened knowing. Whether it's because you're meeting new people, you're meeting people from different cultures, or perhaps your partner is from a different culture, different country, or whatever, or perhaps it's just the nature of whatever you guys will be doing. It's going to bring a lot of knowledge to everyone involved. Like everyone is going to be able to learn from this situation and improve their craft, their knowledge, their skills. Yeah, I guess from what I've said so far, the situation that you're going through is a decision that you are about to make, or it's an offer, like in the Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, it's just overwhelmingly positive. I'm not seeing any negative sign. The only negativity I think is probably your fear based on what happened in the past. Perhaps some of you are fearing that because you didn't handle it so well in the past, perhaps you won't be able to handle it well going to the future. I feel like some of you are afraid of you backing out of fears or insecurity. Yeah, perhaps, the worst thing, the worst energy that I'm seeing in this situation is really your own fear that's holding you back, your own lack of confidence, I guess, of messing up. I want to pull two more cards. Perhaps I can give you more advice or perhaps just reassurance. Let's put it on the sides. Yeah, it's in the view. Okay, let's take both of those cards. We have the Chariot, Page of Pentacles, and the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, one advice I would give if you are worried about, backing off too early or just having the past repeat itself is to make sure you don't invest your full self into the situation right away. I don't mean to say that you should, intentionally hold back if you do want to give more energy. I think the message from the Chariot card is that you have to find balance, at least in the beginning of this situation, this opportunity. Don't plunge in fully right away. It's like when you're going swimming, you have to dip your legs into the water and feel the temperature first, right? You don't just plunge into it unless you have, superhuman heart. Yeah, if this is a work situation, make sure, for example, that you're not working, extra hours unless you really have to. Just maintaining a good work-life balance is helpful if this is a work situation. If it's a person situation, then make sure you're getting enough self-care, enough alone time. I think perhaps what went wrong in the past was that you invested too much right away, and that was straining, that perhaps gave you burnout. So by being conscious of balance, of giving enough attention and energy to yourself, I think you will be able to avoid the past repeating itself again. And on the right side, I think the Page of Pentacles and Ten of Pentacles are really just here to give you reassurance of how much abundance and happiness and long-lasting happiness this situation is going to bring you. There's major growth, major transformation happening from the Page of Pentacles to the Ten of Pentacles, and as I said already before, you will be able to learn a lot from this new opportunity coming in. If it's a work thing, then what you're going to learn from this opportunity is going to sort of like up your skills to a whole other level, and what you learn from this opportunity can basically provide for the rest of your life, if not your future generations. There's major up-leveling happening here in terms of your ability and your self-confidence. This is really great new beginning. Yeah, I definitely hope you would jump into it. Don't let whatever happened in the past was in the past, right? And don't let it hold you back now. We're in the present and not in the past. Yeah, please do remember that. Yeah, I think that's all that I want to tell you. I hope I was able to get straight to the point and didn't drag on this reading for longer than, it needs to be. Yeah, and this is all the messages that I have for you. I hope I will see you in my next video. Bye! Hi Group 2s, welcome to your reading. Let me start by shuffling these cards. I'm going to organize this reading into roughly 3 parts. We will first look at the overview of your situation, the overview of the energy, perhaps people who are involved, how you're feeling, and I see a card that's flipped out. Let me put it back in. Where is that card? All right. Oh, quite a few flipped out. Oops. And then the second part is going to be about how the situation is influencing you, what it's doing to you, how it's making you feel, that kind of thing. And then finally, we will be asking the cards for advice. on how you should handle the situation, what you perhaps need to do, any decision that you have to make. Let's start with the overview. Is it in the view? Okay. I'm going to be taking 3 cards for each of the 3 parts. I'm also hoping to keep this reading short and sweet and getting straight to the point, because I received that criticism from quite a few of my friends that I tend to over-explain things, and some of them just felt that my readings were too long. So, are we still in the view? Alright, overview of your situation. Definitely it has to do with the decision that you have to make. Quite self-explanatory from the Justice card, and I'm getting like ambiguous or contrasting vibes from the 5 of Pentacles, so I'm gonna be pulling a clarifier. It's interesting. Wow, I'm suddenly hesitating to say this because I feel like the situation is probably a wedge between you and someone that you perhaps feel guilty about leaving. It's always hard when you have to leave someone, whether that's someone from work or someone from your family, a friend, past lover or present lover. Sorry, that sound was my dog shaking whatever was on her body. You know how dogs like to just, as if they were trying to shake off dusts from their bodies. Anyway, and that's her walking around in my apartment and giving us some background noise. Yeah, I was saying that this is probably a decision about perhaps leaving a situation or a person, and I think the reason you're considering leaving is that in the past, this person, I really feel that it's a person for the majority of you. Could be a situation though. Well, I mean, a person is a situation, right? Yeah, okay, anyway. I think the reason you're considering leaving is that they put you down in the past and made you feel unworthy, made you feel like you wouldn't be enough or you wouldn't have enough. You know, it's that feeling of that we can never be enough or we can never do enough no matter how much we try. I think this situation, or I think this person, I'm just gonna say it's a person, gave you that feeling. There is a feeling of wanting to put as much distance between you and that person as possible. Perhaps the distance comes in the form of studying abroad, pursuing some opportunity abroad. With the Page of Swords, I'm really seeing the possibility of studying abroad, going to college abroad, or just perhaps not abroad, but to a different city. Yeah. I feel like this is a systemic thing that happened to you in the past. It was ongoing. I'm not gonna say abuse because I don't really think it amounts to that for most of you, but just ongoing like pain and heartache and unpleasantness that's made you really doubt your skills and your intellect. Yes, I feel like this is a decision to honor your intellect, to pursue something intellectual, whether that's studying abroad or seeking different work opportunities in a different place, or just doing some kind of program, getting a teacher for something. You could be considering pursuing a childhood passion of yours by finding someone to teach you, and perhaps you were held back from doing that because of, people who put you down in the past. Yeah. Okay. Wow, I'm feeling such heaviness in my chest. Whew. It's a lot of heavy energy. Yeah, and I'm sorry that you've had to go through that. It's quite difficult to feel. even for me, and I know what I'm experiencing is perhaps not even 1% of what you must be experiencing. Okay. I'm getting kind of a little bit emotional, but let's move forward. This part is going to be how the situation is influencing you. I think specifically these three cards are saying what the decision is doing to you, not what the past has done to you, since we already covered that. You have the Five of Swords, Nine of Cups, and Seven of Wands. I feel like you're having to defend your decision to someone, whether it's the person or people who hurt you in the past, or just friends who don't get it, people around you who don't get why you want to leave. There's a lot of defensive energy here, as if you're being attacked. And I feel like a lot of that attack also comes from within. As I said, there's the feeling of guilt about leaving. You might have internalized quite a lot of that past criticism. And yeah, people not getting why you want to leave. I'm also hearing that for some of you, this has to do with challenges that you've had to go through that other people don't. Perhaps mental challenges like either, like psychological illnesses or just mental disabilities that you've had to deal with, and other people don't get it, and they don't get why you're reacting to the person or the situation this way. I do feel that you've come into a more confident version of yourself and you feel more secure within about your decisions. I think this decision is something that you perhaps should have made a long time ago, but you never would have thought of making because you weren't nearly this much confident, this secure as you are now. I know some of you might not feel that you're confident enough, and perhaps you are right. Perhaps you could be more confident. Perhaps you really do need to put more distance between yourself, your self-worth, and whoever hurt you in the past. But please still honor how much you've come, how much confidence you've gained. I feel like dwelling on this decision, having to make this decision, has brought more awareness to how confident you've become, that you're able to defend yourself in front of everyone who doesn't get you. Let's look at advice. I think it's already pretty clear which decision you should make, but let's look at perhaps something else. If there's anything else that you need to be aware of. You have the Knight of Cups, Ace of Swords. Last one is the Three of Cups. New people, new friends coming into your life by leaving in the Three of Cups. I feel like it could be your community, the community that you've grown up with, who, they don't really understand what you've had to go through. Perhaps there just isn't enough awareness in your community about whatever challenges that you have. And by going to a different place, by pursuing a program or course of study or different work opportunity, you will be meeting new people and entering into a new community. And I think they have the awareness of how to support you. Let me make sure you can see all of these cards. Yeah. In the Ace of Swords, I want to give the advice of, if you don't feel like you can end things on perfect terms with everyone in your present situation, end things anyway. Of course, it's great to aim for leaving things on good terms with everyone, but sometimes that's not always possible because of what we've had to go through in the past. sometimes the beginning of a new thing doesn't involve the full closure of the past. But we have to begin anyway. I feel like for some of you, your version of closure, your idea of closure, just isn't really realistic for the current situation that you're in. And I would say don't wait for that closure. Just move forward. And once you move forward, I think that will be your closure. Once you meet this new community of people, it'll be like whatever closure you wanted doesn't even matter anymore. Yeah, that's really what I wanted to say from this card. In the Knight of Cups, I think you're supposed to ask for help if you aren't already. Help about how you can move forward, how you can step into this new situation, or perhaps professional help, medical help that you have to seek. Is that the right way to say it? Like medical help? If you need to talk to someone, do it. I think I said earlier that some of you are finding a teacher or a mentor type of person. Perhaps that's in the form of a therapist, a counselor, just someone who you can talk to and get help from. Someone who can give you a more objective view of what you've had to go through, so that you're not just in your mind and feeling guilty about leaving. I think if we are like the only unique person in the community, that can really make us question ourselves, right? That uniqueness alone can make us, doubt if we're in the wrong. But I think if you talk to a professional person, they will be able to give you a more objective view of what you've had to go through, and give you more confidence and security in who you are. I think, whatever you've had to deal with, it's not as though the purpose of leaving is to eliminate that thing. What I'm saying is that please don't think of leaving as escaping the past. Think of leaving as reconciling with your past, reconciling with the people who hurt you, and knowing that they did it because they perhaps weren't aware, they didn't know how to handle it any better. Not making excuses for themselves, for those people, but just giving ourselves more grace and and more support, knowing that it's okay that we want to leave. It's not that we are hurting other people. It's not that we are, ungrateful or whatever bad names you might be calling yourself. This one yogi, a spiritual teacher of mine from the internet, who's influenced me a lot, said that if you are dealing with nasty people, or just people who've hurt you, the best way is to, I think he said, is to have love for them. And if that's not possible, if that doesn't improve the situation, have compassion for them. If that doesn't improve the situation, have distance from them. And I think that's basically the message I want to leave you with. Yeah. Okay, so I think I want to just end the reading here. And thank you so much for listening. I really hope you step forward and get whatever help you need. Okay? I hope I will see you in my next video. Bye! Welcome, Group 3, to your reading. Let me start by shuffling your cards. I just saw the Lover card, which somehow makes sense for your group. A lot of passion, even eroticism coming in. Passion, unconditional love, embracing someone, that kind of feeling. Oh, by the way, I'm going to organize this reading roughly into 3 parts. First part is the overview of the situation, overview of the energy, just, things that you perhaps already are aware of. And the second part is how the situation is influencing you, what it's doing to you, and how it's making you feel, that kind of stuff. The third part is going to be advice on what you should do, any decision that you have to make, and just overall messages that you need to hear. Okay, let's start with the first part, the overview. You have the Queen of Cups, the Star, and still waiting. Oh, Queen of Swords. You have two queens coming out. And interesting. Perhaps romance is not the immediate situation that you're in. If you aren't in a romantic situation, I think for some of you it's internal transformation that you're going through. However, I think you are a very romantic person and you're looking for someone, or perhaps you're looking for a kind of experience with someone. I feel like at this point in your life there's inner conflict. I feel like I think what you're going through is the desire to surrender, the desire to find more vulnerability. Even if you are with someone, I feel like you want more depth with them. You want to be more vulnerable with them. I think you've come to understand that you've held yourself back from a lot of emotional experiences in the past because you were afraid of surrendering, of losing control, of vulnerability. And the theme of this stage of your life is really just to let your guard down. Yeah. Like, you see how the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords are facing opposite directions, but the Star is looking towards the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups, if you look at her dress, can you see it? If you look at her dress, it's almost merged with the water. It's like there's no boundary between her and the water also continues on as if to all eternity. This is a card about dissolving boundaries. And in that dissolution, in that surrendering of our boundaries, we can embrace more, we can sense more, we can understand more. I think this is something that's come into your awareness kind of recently. However, this is such a major theme in your life, and I think in everyone's life. Perhaps you've been building towards this moment. I think maybe when you were younger, you were more, the analytical type of person, and you liked to plan out everything. You like to know where things are going, what's going to happen every day, and how you can most efficiently work through whatever you have to work through. However, you've come to this point in your life where you just want to embrace more and you want to experience that unconditional love, and you also know that the only way to experience that from others is if you're willing to give the same. Let's look at how this situation or transformative journey is influencing you. Okay, 6 of Wands. I think it's made you more charismatic, whether you know it or not. Think about hanging out with your friends. I feel like you've become a more magnetic, charismatic, outgoing person with your friends than perhaps you were in the past. Perhaps you were more of an introvert in the past. And now, like going out with other people, being social, just feels a lot easier. I think that's really because of your willingness to surrender, to not know what's going to happen every day, to allow mysteries into your life. I think that's freed your spontaneity up. It's freed up your playfulness. Like you're able to joke around and not take yourself seriously, not feel embarrassed when you want to say something funny. I think it's also brought more people into your life, more friends. If you don't think that's the case, I still feel like a lot more people are having their eyes on you. They're looking at you and being inspired by you. I feel like overall you've just become more calm and centered. Like perhaps in the past, you were someone who really hated new beginnings, new challenges of having to go to a different place, about perhaps moving to a different apartment like what I'm going through. Perhaps just new beginnings, new things made you feel anxious and you disliked having to go through all that. But I think who you are now can handle those challenges, those mysteries that life is throwing at you much more gracefully, much more calmly and joyfully. That's beautiful. That's lookout advice. I'm gonna take both of these cards, the Moon, the Chariot. Actually, I'm gonna take that as a clarifier because I don't feel as much weight coming from this card. And the King of Swords. Ooh. Let's take these two as clarifiers for each other, Emperor and the Six of Pentacles. The King of Swords was actually the card that came out when I asked Spirit for what reading we should do today. And yeah, from the King of Swords, the message I got was to read about the truth of a situation that people are going through. And it's come out again. I feel like for you, the way to surrender, to become more vulnerable, is to understand, to be aware of how important it is to you. It's quite difficult and vague if we just try to release control. Like, that's such a vague thing to say, right? Even though everyone is saying it these days, but no one seems to be able to explain it. I think the reason people just say that all the time and not explain it is that it can be self-explanatory. It really can, but only if you're fully willing to let go. And the only way that we can be willing to do something like that is to understand how important it is to us, right? I think letting go, surrendering, becoming vulnerable is pretty much the same as releasing physical tension. Yeah, imagine like if I told you to release physical tension, that also sounds quite vague, right? But if you're willing to release, then you can just do that right away. It doesn't need further explanation. That's what I meant when I said letting go sounds vague, but it's also self-explanatory. I think you have to really understand for yourself how important it is to you to become vulnerable. Whether you want to become vulnerable to open yourself up to a new relationship or your current relationship, or whatever reason you have for it, perhaps journal about it, reflect on it, understand the significance. Perhaps you also identify that as part of your life purpose. If so, then yeah, more reasons to plunge in and surrender and embrace everything unconditionally. Releasing judgments seems to be a huge theme for this group. I think also judgments about knowing versus not knowing. I feel like in the past, perhaps you guys felt, or perhaps you were taught, that it's bad not to know everything. And there was this need to act as though you know everything, or to do everything you can until you can feel that you know enough. But we can never know enough. Not even the brightest scientists these days know everything there is to know, right? Or not even the majority of all there is to know. Really, what we can aim to know is so very little and insignificant that we should just release the need to know everything. Yeah, and just allow life to surprise us sometimes. I think you are already doing that, and that's what gave you this charisma. I think if you notice yourself having judgment about a situation or a person or yourself, see if the opposite is also true. There is duality in this card, yin and yang, I don't know. Anyway, good and bad being true at the same time. So I would just encourage you, if you catch yourself judging someone or something, try to judge them oppositely. Have both judgments at the same time. I think, which philosopher was it? I think it was Kierkegaard who said that, the ultimate, so I'm paraphrasing, the ultimate achievement of a mind is to hold two antithetical ideas at the same time and not be disturbed by that confusion. In the Six of Pentacles and the Emperor, which is the number 4, I think something about your day-to-day life, something about your living situation, you're supposed to shake things up a little bit. Try to do what you do every day in a different way. So for example, if you always get up early, see if you can sleep in one day and how that makes you feel. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be a morning person if that's really you. I'm just encouraging you to try to live life differently and see what happens. Yeah. Okay, I think that's everything that I wanted to say from this spread. And thank you so much for listening in. I really hope you found some clarity from this reading. And I hope I will see you in my next video. Bye!